Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to another vlog. My name is Basilisk. I'm still your host. I am your host. Let's get started. Sorry for it having been a long time since I did one of these, and I meant to do this last week, but I ran into a bronchitis. Actually, I couldn't stop coughing. Lots of fun. So, I also need a haircut, so I'm gonna apologize for that right now. So, questions. I'm going to just onward. Um, our first questions are from Mal. Hopefully he actually sees this then. Sorry again, I just bumped my mic. Do I have any actual experience with the games industry? A fair enough question, considering I tend to base a lot of my personal design philosophy off the games industry, as well as my work on my game design vlog for Fun and Profit. And the answer is a bit more complicated than yes and no. I've never actually worked as a professional member of the game design industry. However, I have done some various work on RPG Maker projects that never got released, usually as a writer or occasionally a dungeon designer. They never saw the light of day for a variety of reasons. Which is what happens when you get which happens a lot more often than you think when you get three people in a house doing your game development. So, the same thing also happened to a few projects I was supposed to do voice acting for, including a couple Skyrim mod and I think a fighting game a while back. Neither of them ever saw the light of day, or even went beyond the early "we'd like people to join in on this" phase of things. So, I have done game testing for a couple indie games. Probably the most noteworthy one of those was Omnis the Arius Line, which still hasn't been released, but I did upload my entire run of that game's demo onto my YouTube channel and was able to actually talk about some of the design from it. And that's the only time I've ever worked that closely with a game studio. Aeon Studios actually sent me talked with me about how they did the design for it, and even sent me some of the assets so I could use them as examples. My movie maker just froze. Behave. Okay. So, is working in the game industry something I've wanted to pursue, and if so, why haven't I? Yes and no. I'm also going to apologize for my allergies now. They've been acting up, but this is honestly the best I've felt in terms of being able to do a video since last Monday. So, what was the question I just got asked? Is there something you've wanted to pursue, and if so, why haven't I? Okay. In regards to game design. Yes, sort of. I have pursued it, but I want to get into game design primarily as a writer. And yeah, honestly, I haven't had the ability to pursue it because I've spent most of my time working odd jobs lately, and I would like to have a steady job, and at this point I'm not picky about what it is. So, yeah, not at the moment. Okay, and now on to Nightshade Elves questions. This vlog probably won't be as long as my last one, but we'll see. What immortal would you personally follow if they existed in real life? Who would I personally follow if they existed in real life? Honestly, all things considered, it probably would be Ethelinda. Or possibly a Lauren. Largely because those two have the ideologies I agree with the most. for instance, as much as I like, or maybe Kilios, actually, now that I think about it. Kilios is really cool. I like her a lot. As for blessings, actually, yeah, probably Solarian. Or Solarian. I'm not actually entirely certain how that's pronounced. Which immortal would I want to be best friends with? Lauren, just because of how much fun she tends to have on a daily basis. It's awesome. I mean, have you looked at Rarn? Out of the characters I've created, which has been my favorite? Out of the characters I've played, probably ultimately Kura, just because she's the one that her plotline isn't as serious as Vivian's or Lakia's. Out of NPCs, not counting Immortals and Mortalborn, probably a marshal for the Imperial Army in Nishaki, or a general, rather. Vierka Gardis? Even I don't know how to pronounce that damn name. Mostly because I have a lot of fun writing her. On the occasions that I actually get to write her. In terms of Immortals and Mortalborns, sort of a toss-up between Ethelinda, Karam, and Rascalon. Mostly because I really like the personalities all three of them have. All three of them tend to be very straightforward and honest. Okay. Out of everything you've done for the site, what has been your favorite thing to work on? Okay, honestly, one of my favorite things to work on, and I don't get to work on them as often as I would like, for a variety of reasons. It's not actually that the staff is going... It's not that the other staff is going, no, we don't need you to work on this right now. It's more that I've had other priorities, including blessings and stuff like that. But my favorite things to work on are dungeons and monsters, which I have a lot of fun with. One moment. Sorry about that. Yeah. And I don't offhand know for sure when this is going up. I'm hoping to have it up today or tomorrow, but we are planning the development team is planning a big release soon. So look forward to that. One more moment. Ugh. Damn allergies. But I am planning to work on actually 3 or 4 dungeons I'm planning to work on soon. One is an underwater dungeon. One will be for a world event that I've started hinting towards already. But it won't be our next world event, I don't believe. It'll be later on. And one I'm going to put down in the south, an old temple of Lysira. And another one and a new one in Nishaki. Possibly 2. Alright, next. What is my favorite part of being staff? Honestly, twofold. One is that I really like working with the rest of the staff. There's been a few bumps along the way, I'm not going to deny it. But those have all been ironed out or otherwise handled. And sorry, my brain shut down. Okay, and the other thing, another thing I really like is being able to help create this world. I mean, I've been staff on Standing Trials since late October 2014, so over 2 years now, and I honestly don't see myself leaving staff anytime soon. It's a lot of fun being able to help create the world of Standing Trials. My least favorite part of being staff, doing reviews. I am not a fan of it. But I get why they have to be done. I am actually going to start doing more of them soon. So, yay. If Jay told me to go out into the site and change one thing, whatever you wanted, what would it be? The review system. I've been on a few sites that did have skill and experience progression. Well, okay. Let me rephrase that. The one thing I'd want to change the most is the review system, because I have been on sites that had a skill and progression system that didn't require reviews, but the way the site works probably wouldn't work with those methods of progression. With those particular methods of progression. So the one thing I would wind up changing. Sorry, one more moment. Yeah. Usually I'm healthier when I do these, but I don't know when my health's going to pick back up, so, bleh. Usually, the one thing I would wind up changing probably is... Hell, I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. Because everything I would change, the dev team is actually in the process of changing. So, just watch this space because we're working on it already. Okay, so I'll just leave that one be. What is my all-time favorite game? Oh, I can never answer this question. Probably my all-time favorite game genre, let's start with that, is turn-based tactics, like the Fire Emblem series, Disgaea, Valkyria Chronicles, XCOM Enemy Unknown, Final Fantasy Tactics, stuff like that. Probably my favorite... My all-time favorite, though, is a bit of a toss-up between the first Valkyria Chronicles, which is a really damn good game, and I wish I could get more episodes up for it, but I don't think it works on this computer. I need to test that. Or Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. And yes, I do own both Awakening and Fates. They're pretty good games, but I do prefer Path of Radiance. Sorry. Okay. Is there time for a new player to jump into Nishaki? Yes, always. If so, how would a villain... Now, if you're saying, is there a good time? Anytime. We're actually in the middle of maybe resuming the Imperial Nishaki War. Of resuming the Imperial Nishaki War, so, yeah. If so, how would a new villain, we like those, go about starting in a city they've never really done much research on, especially a manipulative one that wants to get into the slave trade? Okay, there are two places to go about that, and they're not mutually exclusive. One, there's a player faction getting made called the Rockery Raiders, and they are looking for a third member. I do believe they engage in the slave trade, although I'm not offhand sure, but they are always a good place to get into villainy. The other, one of the Nishaki political factions is called the Tower of Flesh. They actively engage in the slave trade. And they aren't good people. The leader, well, I'm not going to get into the reveals about the leader of the Tower of Flesh right now, but that's a good place to get started. And they aren't mutually exclusive. If you want to be a member of both factions, send me a PM. I'm looking forward to that. Send me a PM. Alright, next. From Calidus Anar. How long has this been going? Only 14 minutes. Wow, this is going to be shorter. Or Calidus Anar? I'm not sure how you're pronouncing that. Sorry, buddy. Sorry. What is the Eternal Empire doing right now in my mind? Preparing. Either to push their invasion of Nishaki forward, or to send in their victorious army. Either way, they're preparing and planning. Has there ever been an actual Immortals battle between Immortals played out in a thread, with maybe with Mortals as pawns? Several. During the lead up to the Battle for Tride's Tomb global event, the global event itself, and of possibly threads connected to spun off from that thread, there were several battles between Immortals. I'm going to talk to everyone involved with that, and we're going to gather up those threads and put them in a place where it's easily accessible so that people can read through that event, because it is a major event. It has an impact on the world. But several battles between Immortals happened during the lead up to that event. And in the event itself, Lysira was almost killed. Her physical body was destroyed. If it hadn't been for the intervention of Aeolic, she would be dead. As it is, she was out of commission for a while. So, yeah, definitely go check those out. The Battle for Tride's Tomb took place in Trideheart. And like I said, we're going to gather up the threads that led up to it. So, yeah. Lots of exciting stuff happened there. Has any Immortal usurped the devotion of a mortal before? I'm guessing you mean they stole devotion that was meant to go to another Immortal. And we don't have the details of how that would work, of how something like that would worked out, so I can't answer that. Mostly because I'm not sure. Thank you for bringing it up, though. We are going to look into defining that. Will new Immortals come along as the story progresses? Yes and no. New Immortals will be created. However, what won't happen is, in-universe, the last Immortal that will ever be created was Karim. After her creation, the creators of the Immortals all died except for one, and I'm not going to get into Delana right now. However, we will be adding new Immortals to the story. What's going on with that, what's going to happen there, though, is that they're not just going to come out of nowhere, is that they're not just going to be Immortals that have been around the whole time and we're just doing a whole remember the new guy thing going on with them. For whatever reason, any new Immortals added to Standing Trials going forward are going to have not been involved with the world's plot for whatever reason. Maybe they were just hanging out in Amiya, they were out of commission for some reason, whatever. But yes, there will be new Immortals added to the story. Has anything in the history of Idalos ever challenged the Immortals? Dragons! Dragons. In addition, probably the Leviathans in the oceans, and to an extent the Five Hearts of Unabor. Which I need to get the full write-up for again. So that needs to be added to the wiki. Anyways. Has anything in the history of Idalos ever challenged... what's made me laugh recently? I will put a link to a video of a Kenyan sand boa. Probably most recently, a video of a Kenyan sand boa. Kenyan sand boas are snakes that will burrow into the sand. And the thing about that is when they come up, they have like this little sand hat thing going on. I'll put a link to a video in the description. In the description for this video. If I don't, remind me. If I forget, then remind me to. Speaking generally as a rule, what do I not like writing at all? Flat characters. One-dimensional heroes or villains. I just can't get into them. I would be a very bad writer for somebody like Superman. And they're just not something I can do. What do I like writing, though? Probably my favorite stories to write are hold on, before I get to this question. The reason I don't like one-dimensional heroes or villains is because I think they're kind of boring. That isn't to say a character can't just be pure evil, but for me, a good example of a pure evil character would be the Joker, who's a lot of fun to read about. But, and again, a good example of a pure good character probably would be Superman. It's just not someone I can get into writing. But there has to be something that makes them more interesting than just flat one or two dimensional villainy. There has to be something more to them. Anyways, what do I like writing? My favorite stories to write are like adventure threads. Like, I've got one thread going with Kura, Sabine, and Vincent, where they're actually setting out to save a bunch of kidnapped children. Stuff like that I like to write. Or threads where my characters are helping other people deal with personal issues. I did a lot for that between Kura and Faith, or especially between Vivian and Lyra. Those were all a lot of fun to do. What's next? Will there be cake? If not, why not? There will be cake. And there will be cake because I'm not GLaDOS. Damn it. Unfortunately, it's going to take me a while to make it. Mostly because my oven is kind of busted. Alright, that's all the questions for this vlog. And, I will hopefully be doing another one of these soon. So, yeah. Send me all the questions you want. In the meantime, thank you everybody so much for watching. This is my Basilisk, and I will see you all then. Have a good night, folks.